Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It is Chris, aka Starrapter, here for Outer Rim Transmission 189. I'm flying solo on this one. It's been a while, but here we are. This is what we got to do. It's going to be a short show this week, so strap in, because we actually do have some really good stuff to get to this week. We have some stuff with Andor Season 2. We got a special look trailer. It's basically two trailers back to back this week, which is just insanity, because here we thought we were going to get into another dry spell, and this is what happens. Besides that, we also have a surprising update for the Disney parks, which actually maybe gives us a hint at a location or locations we might be heading off to in The Mandalorian Grogu, thanks to an update on Millennium Smuggler's Run there in the Disney parks. So we got that, and well, we'll get into what we can. But for now, I do want to show off something cool for my week in Star Wars. We always kick off every episode of Outer Rim Transmission talking about our week in Star Wars. This one was a big one for me. Back at it again. It's Star Wars Unlimited. We had the release of Jump to Light Speed. This is the fourth set, and it has now marked an entire year of the brand new trading card game from Fantasy Flight Games. So what better way to celebrate the launch of this by opening a pack live? Now, I have two videos on the channel, one opening a Carbonite special pack, as well as one opening up the Boba Fett Spotlight deck. So go ahead and check those videos out if this is going to be interesting to you. But here we go, opening live on air. We're going to get into a pack opening to start things off for this week. And we have Major Von Rag. I love how we're getting all the Resistance dudes in, right? This is a ship-based set for Star Wars Unlimited, based on pilots, things of that nature. We have Theed Palace as a base, very beautiful artwork as always. We have a Corellian freighter. This is a ship that was in set 1, so we do get reprints from time to time. This definitely is not a reprint. This is a Skyway cloud car. So this is one of those episodes where you're going to want to tune in, watch the YouTube link at youtube.com/Starrapter, as I'm showing off some amazing art. The TIE bombers, I love the look of that. I also love how they actually deal damage, the way it's thematic to the card. We have electromagnetic pulse. We have fight fire with a Trandoshan, just dual wielding blasters going everywhere. Red Squadron X-Wing. There we go. Well, we also follow up with a TIE Ambush Squadron. The use of ships like TIE Fighters, X-Wings, classic Star Wars fare there. But then we have awesome artwork on Piercing Shot, which is so cool. It is a Jedi Starfighter going after a Central Droid control ship. Very cool artwork there. Speaking of prequels, we have Munificent Frigate. All right, Munificent Frigate. Oh, it's very hard to explain. I'm really happy with this pilot. We have Jarek Yeager, everybody. Jarek Yeager from Star Wars Resistance. Following that up with a good old bounty hunter Dengar right there for you. Next up, somebody that's going to be very closely looked at in the next couple of weeks, we have Director Krennic. And I can't believe I pulled this for a third time, everybody. I believe third time. We have the Devastator legendary card, a legendary card pull on live. And I actually have 3 of these legendary, I believe, from set 1. They're different ones completely physically. And I also have a starter foil of the Chewbacca pilot. He's a really good pilot too, because he basically can't be taken out by a means of non-combat cards. So yeah, get into the lingo there when it comes to Star Wars Unlimited. But that was a successful card pull. That was a successful card pull on live on YouTube, because there you go. You guys got to see me open up a legendary card right there live on the air. Doesn't get better than that. So there you go. That's my fun. And we had the pre-launch event at my local game store. Had a lot of fun. Lost every single game, mind you. Lost like all 6 different games I played, but we were playing with sealed and we're just dealing with whatever got handed to us. I was playing with the Boba Fett deck, but yeah, a lot of fun, good stuff when it comes to Star Wars Unlimited. I definitely recommend that game. But getting into the show proper, for those of you that are new, we go live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Daylight savings threw things off a bit this week. But yes, and you can also listen to us after the fact on Outer Rim Transmission. Just search the podcast networks of your choice. We'll be on Spotify, we'll be on Amazon, we'll be on Apple, anything of that nature if you guys are on the go. And you can always watch this live after the fact at youtube.com/Starrapter. Please leave a comment, review, a like, whatever kind of metric they have for you to rate this show. We do appreciate that, and we would love to be listened to and watched from newer members. So we'd love to hear from you guys. Just send us in an email, outerrimtransmission.com or outerrimtransmission@gmail.com. There we go. It's been a while since I plugged our email, but there we go. Let's get it going. So out this week, we have a couple new releases. First one, we have the long-awaited Qui-Gon Jinn original graphic novel from Dark Horse. This was first announced at New York Comic Con 2023. It was supposed to be out that following year, and then we got pushed all the way to 2025. So there we go. It's out. It's really good. So check that out. We also have a long-awaited brand new ongoing series kicking off called Jedi Knights #1. This is talking about all the Jedi before the Phantom Menace, including Qui-Gon Jinn almost being assassinated and what is happening with that. So we have a lot of good stuff there coming in to us from Marvel. And finally, we have from Disney Lucasfilm Press, we have a brand new audio book, an Audible original specifically, and this one is Star Wars: The High Republic Haunted Starlight, which is a direct follow-up to Seeds of Starlight. Both of these were written by George Mann, performed by the narrator. So there we go. And then this week, all we really had was a bunch of maybe random stories until Lucasfilm dropped us a brand new special look trailer for Andor Season 2. I do want to give credit where credit is due, because we want to make sure we are giving credit to the narrator of Haunted Starlight. I was really trying to walk that one out for you guys as I'm looking him up. Todd Haberkorn. Todd Haberkorn is the narrator, as well as George Mann is the writer of Haunted Starlight. Here we go. Got to give credit. Okay, getting into it. Andor special look, Andor Season 2. We just got this dropped like right before Daredevil Season 2, or Daredevil Born Again. I know it's getting 2 seasons, but yeah, they dropped this right before that. I grabbed a lot of screenshots from that. We're going to go through them. I like this approach to showing us like behind the scenes, and we have the different writers and directors and people at Lucasfilm also narrating the different actors, narrating what was happening. So it's really cool to get an outlook on how epic this season of Andor is going to be, the second and the final one. So getting into it, I'm always amazed by the beautiful Coruscant skyline here. Fantastic stuff there. Getting into it. We also have a really good look at the TIE. It's like a TIE prototype. TIE Avenger. The TIE Avenger. This thing shows up in multiple points in both trailers we have gotten. It's really good stuff there. Classic behind the back shot. I think this is of Andor, maybe. They've been doing that a lot with this series, just showing us a perspective behind the back. This shot here, we have X-Wings flanking what looks to be maybe the same sort of ship that we see in Obi-Wan Kenobi towards the end of the series that Obi-Wan is being transported on. They're right in front of that beautiful Masasi temple in Yavin 4. So, oh my goodness, this is so cool. So nostalgic to go back to that location, which was just such a big deal for the rebellion at that time. Good old Buddy Brasso. I've been doing a rewatch of Andor, and you know this character I feel like is underrated. A good buddy, good loyal buddy to Andor, and this guy doesn't take no for an answer. You know, this guy is a perfect personification of the rebellion. So there we go there. And another shot of him, and the reason why I want this on there is because the background is that kind of farmland area. Looks suspiciously like what we might see for a live-action Dantooine. So I'm really hoping that this is that connection that Leia was mentioning in A New Hope. Oh, it's all Dantooine. Yeah, okay. This is great. This is pretty much confirmed, I think, at this point, that this is not only Benthic 2 tubes, but this is Edria 2 tubes with the Cavern Angels X-Wing in the back. This looks to be the rebellion base on Dakar. We know originally that the resistance base on Dakar was previously a rebellion base. So to see this in the rebellion era is really cool. I don't know what adds more credence to this is that where Andor is filmed in the UK and whatnot, this is a UK location that they filmed in The Force Awakens, so it couldn't be that much of a stretch for them to do a day or two of shooting over there since they're already recording in that region. So there you go. This looks to be Gorman, I guess. This is the big city that's going to be a flashpoint in the birth of the rebellion, with Mon Mothma proclaiming that she's succeeding from the Empire because of this so-called massacre that happens that we've apparently heard about in books, in legends. Star Destroyers crushing people, landing on them and just killing them outright. I don't know if we're going to see something that brutal in this, but it wouldn't surprise me since they basically had a version of new torturing in season 1 with Dedra Meero and Binks. I like this shot because it shows the one character, I want to say her name starts with a V. There's a lot of characters in this, guys, and I only have so much space in my brain for Star Wars characters, okay? But we have this character, the blonde character that was on Aldhani with Andor. That I think she's the cousin of Mon Mothma. But anyway, she's inspecting a gun. I like seeing the camera work. Like, we actually see the crew and stuff in this, so it's good to see that behind the scenes. This looks like the Gorman massacre, perhaps. I'm looking to see where this goes. Very cool. A lot of crowd shots, which means there's a lot of extras on set. Really cool to see for a series. We got straight up Saw Gerrera. This looks like closer to Andor. I think this looks very similar to what we've seen him last in season 2 or season 1. Season 2 feels like there could be 2 seasons built in there with how much stuff we went through. All right, we got a interesting building. After this, it cuts to the ISB, so quite a very, very big base that really stands out in architecture-wise. And then getting into, let's see what's next. All right, is this Cyril Karn? We're looking at the back of somebody in a very stark white environment. This could be on Garmin, could be there. Seeing that there. This is great. This is absolutely great. We see a bunch of KX droids just sitting there. And that is Cyril Karn. Cyril Karn. Now, is he going to be part of the Imperial army or something in the ISB, because he's trying to make his way in? Like, he's got the case for Andor and Ferrix, and does he work his way into the Imperial, even though Morlana, the security forces, are sort of part of the Imperial, the Empire in a way? Interesting stuff there. This is probably my favorite shot. Just the idea of Andor having this kind of fashion sense to have these different kind of Star Wars sunglasses. I know, sunglasses and glasses in Star Wars in general are kind of a weird concept because it's like very sci-fi, just solid sci-fi. It's like, ooh, does this belong in Star Wars? But hey, I don't care because Andor is rocking those shades pretty freaking good if you ask me. We got a nice shot of a U-Wing flanked by X-Wings. Again, the production value to have these assets with appearing that good, it just doesn't cease to amaze me with the amount of money the show has. Now, this looks like it's the convention center of like either San Diego Comic-Con or Anaheim, because you got these white structures, very artistically unorthodox, crossing over each other. It's just a very sci-fi looking kind of structure, perfect for Andor, of course. Let me zoom in, and we get my guess is Mon Mothma is talking to what would be eventually Chancellor Villachem, who we see get burned out of the sky during A Force Awakens on Hosnian Prime as the Chancellor at that point of the New Republic before it gets decimated by the First Order. Interesting stuff there. Clea, I think she's also another hugely underrated characters, you know, working with Luthen Rail, butting heads against Luthen Rail, knowing what she thinks the rebellion should be, and not being afraid to talk about it, even though it might seem like Luthen is her superior. She doesn't hold her opinion back, you know, and I think she's just this really cool spycraft type of character that I definitely want to see more of. This again is just amazing, the amount of crowds in Andor season 2 that are just represented, and just looks absolutely anarchy. It's gonna be so fun to just see this on the screen at home. You know, it's just, here we go. We just have a bunch of soldiers looking. I think that could be Saul Guerrero, perhaps. Moving on, we have a Brasso, but we also have B2EMO. This looks to be that same kind of farmland planet. I would imagine that this is where the survivors of Ferrix went to. Now, maybe Brasso is the person that's in charge of putting together a rebel base on Dantooine. That'd be cool connective tissue to see the origins of the base on Dantooine. We know that I think eventually Afra ends up going to Dantooine during the comics at one point. This is a great shot. We see a lot of, throughout the trailers I mentioned before, the TIE Avenger, and now the TIE Avenger looks like it's going to that planet where the Brasso is. I keep just saying, let's just say it's Dantooine, flying down straight through the atmosphere at blazing speeds. I'm looking forward to seeing what the capability of this new prototype TIE Avenger is. What sets it apart from an interceptor, right? Because these look like they're very similar ships. It looks like this might have just more of an arsenal. Here's a great behind-the-scenes shot here of Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk, you know, who's obviously Cassian Andor and K2SO. It looks like they're in a pilot cockpit, and they're having some laughs. They're having some smiles. It's great to see these two actors getting together once again, like they were back in 2015 when they filmed this. All those years back. It's almost been 10 years now since Rogue One was released. 9 years at this point. So it's really great to see these two great actors together and having a good time. You know, this is a big opportunity, but they're not taking it seriously in this moment. They're having fun with it. Here we go. We have a Coruscant Senate meeting, and we've seen this last season on Andor, where it was like, wait, where is everybody? It's just everybody's so disillusioned by the Empire. We know in A New Hope that Grand Moff Tarkin says, you know, the entire Senate has been disbanded. It's now the Empire is led and controlled by these regional governors. So I think as we get closer and closer to A New Hope, I mean, over these 4 years of Andor season 2, we're going to see less and less politicians, less and less senators that are even going to show up to this thing anymore. Because, you know, what's the point? But you know, this is basically what we got from the trailers. Those are the highlights. And what I'll say is it's great to get a nice behind the scenes sort of look at a movie or a TV show. Lucasfilm always says he's really good, kind of builds up the hype. And I know a lot of people were not really happy with the official trailer's music that kind of threw things off. But, you know, you take that out, you put this trailer out, this special look, and from what I've seen on the internet, everybody seems to be enjoying this, and it does glean a lot more into actually what's happening without giving too much away. Speaking of giving too much away, that brings me to our last story of the week, and that comes to us from the South by Southwest convention. So they had a Disney Parks panel apparently, and guess who showed up? Guys? Jon Favreau showed up to South by Southwest to talk a little bit about The Mandalorian and Grogu, specifically in its relation to the Disney Parks. So I'm reading this from Disney Parks blog. A new adventure is on the horizon for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. With the release of The Mandalorian Grogu in theaters on Memorial Day weekend 2026, embark on a new mission that will make you feel like you're right alongside the daring hero and youngling. And what's really cool is they showed, like, you know, the Mandalorian and Grogu walking around Batu, and they see the Millennium Falcon, and he's basically like, ooh, this is the way. Like, it's a very simple thing. But there was a lot more explained during the panel that the website's official blog does not have. And it's basically they walked out with all these like BD-1 type little walking droids. And one of them had an Anzellan mechanic, like we've seen one of them from obviously The Rise of Skywalker, but also in the season 3 of Mandalorian, we had Anzellans that were the ones that like fixed the Grogu little harness on the IG-11 armament. So we had those guys literally walking around on stage, and we know that those exist. I don't know what Disney park right now, but those exist in the actual theme park, so you could actually go and see them. They'll be walking around, and then Jon Favreau basically said like, oh yeah, they're going to be in the movie too, by the way. They're going to be in the movie, so we're going to see these walking droids, which are really cool. Like, they amaze me. The idea is they're not rolling, they're literally just like walking around like mini little ATSTs. So really, really cool stuff there. And speaking specifically from the what Jon Favreau says, so Favreau explains that the Mandalorian Grogu adventure added to Smuggler's Run in 2026 will not just retell what happens in the movie. It's more like participating in something that's happening just off camera from what you see in the film. So what's really cool is they put out this official kind of image of official art here. If you look at it on the YouTube, we have the Falcon going to Cloud City, flanked by, yeah, you're seeing it, the Razor Crest. So this begs a lot of speculation, right? Like, what exactly are we going to be seeing? Are we going back to Bespin? Are we going back to Cloud City in The Mandalorian and Grogu, right? Like, he's telling, like, we're not retelling the stories, but we're doing stuff that's, you know, to the side of it. So I mean, the last time we heard about Bespin was, I think, in Lando Last Shot novel, right before Solo Star Wars Story. It's like 2 years after Jakku, and I think they go and pick up Lando from there or something. But it's long been liberated from the stormtroopers and whatnot. So, you know, in Battlefront 2, we're running around there, and it's, you know, obviously occupied by the Imperials. So I'm looking forward to going back, because I mean, just looking at this concept art, like, it just brings me back to the Empire Strikes Back special editions, like those orangey pink hues of the clouds and just the silhouette of the Cloud City in the background, and seeing the Tabana gas platforms, like that brings me back to Rogue Squadron or whatever. Like, there's so many iconic things that just this image evokes for me, and the idea that there's also potential, like with the locations, you could actually, they say you go to the Death Star 2 remnants, I guess, over Endor, and you'll also be going to Tatooine. So if these are all connected to the Mandalorian Grogu, like, okay, so does that mean those are going to be in the movie then? Because why would they just be randomly on there if they're not connected to the movie? You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting to see that this is coming out, giving us our first official glimpse at anything from this movie. I know we are going to get the Mandalorian and Grogu panel at Star Wars Celebration on Friday, April 18th. I believe that's the date, April 18th for, yes, that would be correct. We're getting the official panel at Star Wars Celebration. So, and they keep harking on this idea that this movie is coming out in May, like Memorial Day weekend, which is May 22nd, I think, is the actual date that this movie's slated to come out. So we got basically a little bit over a year at this point. So the marketing cycle is going to start having to ramp up. I strongly think that we'll be getting some kind of trailer or teaser, at least at Celebration, you know, if not for the world, at least for the people in the room at the time, of course. Like, they like to do that special exclusive stuff for the people that make it out to the convention. But at least we'll get a lot of good quotes, you know. So that there's a lot of good stuff here. But yeah, basically, all in all, it's nice to see that Smuggler Run is getting updated. Oh, and it's also interesting about the Razor Crest, because I've really liked the Naboo Starfighter. Very sleek, hot rod, a lot of horsepower, kind of looking like, you know, muscle car, but in a Naboo Starfighter kind of thing. So what's the story here, and who's flying the Falcon? I mean, how could it not be Han Solo and Chewbacca? So does that mean they're also going to be in the movie, and who's going to be playing them? So this really does bring up a lot of questions from a character, cameo, whatever you would expect. Maybe Mando will even make a pit stop at Black Spire Outpost. Maybe they shot a couple scenes literally at Disneyland. I've been saying that for the longest time. Like, you guys literally have a set. You can close it down one day and shoot a Star Wars show or movie there, and it would look so good because it's a 360-degree fully realized set that everybody's walking in every single day anyway. So there you go. That's basically the news for this week. I'm happy we got anything, and it's going to be a probably another couple slow weeks. I'm going to keep saying that because every time I say it's going to be a slow couple weeks, they break out some big news. So I'm not going to hold my breath for next week. Lucasfilm has been feeding us pretty good when it comes to the trickle of news. And we know with Star Wars Celebration, we're going to have news to talk about for probably weeks. We do have an update since I talked about The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm going to spend an entire segment in the future talking about all the panels, but we have a couple of the panels at Star Wars Celebration for April coming up. And, well, these are just the panels that you're going to need to have a reservation system with first come, first serve, get online and try to get these panels reserved. You can only have one per day. So they were able to release these selections. So Friday, as I mentioned, you're going to have The Mandalorian Grogu. Now, on Saturday, April 19th, there's two main panels. It's Andor and it's Ahsoka. And what drives me insane is that you have to pick one or the other. Like, you're locked. You can't just go to both, because back in the day, you would have the lottery system and you could theoretically get like multiple panels each day if you got lucky enough. Most people probably didn't. And in that case, you would go wait in standby line. But for this one, they're basically saying, you got to choose which one you like more. Honestly, I'm going to go for Andor just because it's going to be the main show and they'll probably show us episodes. So I'd rather be watching those early, trying to see what the cast has to say, because honestly, what could they really talk about with Ahsoka? I don't even know if the scripts are done, let alone they're not even filming. So I feel like there's not a whole lot. Maybe they'll reveal some casting, with Baylan Skoll's new actor and all that. We'll see what happens there. And then on Sunday, we're going to get the Visions 2 panel. So we have 3 days. The interesting thing is there is a empty bullet point before the Friday panel for Mandalorian Grogu. So that begs the question, will there be a new surprise thing released closer to the announcement of the time of these going live? What's honestly puzzling for me is how there is no Lucasfilm presentation panel that there has been at the last couple celebrations, which really are hype moments because it's kind of a big top level view of everything that they'll be talking about that weekend. And there's usually trailers and there's big fanfare rolling out the actors from multiple things on the stage. One at London was great, getting the Acolyte, getting all these big creators like Daisy Ridley out there to talk about the movies. Like, it was huge. So there's no real big movie panel, but that was an update. We're definitely going to have more of a final panel breakdown and speculate a little bit on the convention itself in the next couple weeks on the channel here. So make sure, again, you subscribe to this channel, and that way you'll never miss it when we go live. My co-host will be back again. It was an off week, so we just had to go fly solo. So hopefully you were able to tolerate me droning on and on for the last 30 minutes. And honestly, I'm surprised I was able to take up 30 minutes on this on my own. But there you go. So again, you guys can follow Milton and Ben down in the description below. I have their information. And of course, if you're watching me, thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel. And also look us up, Outer Rim Transmission, on any podcast streaming service. And go ahead, tell your friends, tell your Star Wars friends, hey, if they wanted something to listen to that revolves around news of Star Wars and everything, hey, this is the place. So appreciate it very much, guys. Have a great week. May the Force be with you always. End transmission.